So I am going to continue the discussion of the solutions for the questions in the assignment in collisions. So starting from question number 25 onwards, look at the question number 25 on the screen. I am going to read out the question number 25. Bullet of mass 0.01 kg and traveling at a speed of 500 meters per second strikes a block of 2 kg, which is suspended by the string of length 5 meters. The center of gravity of the block is found to rise a vertical distance of 0.1 meter. What is the speed of the bullet after it emerges from the block? So we have to first apply conservation of momentum for one-dimensional collisions. Next, we'll apply the conservation of energy for motion of the block after collision. Of course, you cannot equate the kinetic energy after collision with the kinetic energy before collision because it's not given that the collision is elastic. So here, for any one-dimensional collision, we can write M1 V1 plus M2 V2 equal to M1 U1 plus M2 U2. Here M1 is the mass of the first body, that is bullet, which is given to 0.01 kg. U1 is initial after the first body, means bullet before collision, that is given to 500 meters per second. M2 is the mass of the block, which is given to 2 kg. But U2 is the velocity of the block before collision, that is 0, because the block is initial at rest before collision, so you will get second term on the right side 0. So again on the left side you can write M1 equal to 0.01 kg, that is the mass of bullet. V1 is the velocity of bullet after collision, which you have to find out. M2 is the mass of block, that is equal to 2 kg. So you have to find V1. To find V1, you have to find V2 first here. So if you solve this equation here, you can multiply with 1000 or 100, both sides you can multiply. V1 plus 200 into V2 is equal to 500 meters per second. You multiply both sides equation with 100. You call it as equation number 1. Next, we'll consider to find V2, we'll consider the motion of the block after collision. Here M1 is the mass of the bullet, M2 is the mass of the block, L is the length of the string, which is given to be 5 meters. After the collision, the block rises through a vertical height. The block rises to a vertical height of h equal to 0.1 meter. Velocity of the block becomes 0 at the highest position for motion after collision. Here I see the point of suspension. So the bullet comes out of the block with velocity V1 after collision, which you have to find. For that you have to find V2. Let V2 denote the velocity of the block just after collision at the lowest position. Of course, you cannot equate the kinetic energy of the system of the bullet and block after collision to the initial kinetic energy system before collision, because it is not an elastic collision. It's not mentioned the collision is elastic. So, but you can apply conservation of energy for motion of the block after collision. Once the bullet comes out of the block, the total mechanics of the block after collision at the lowest position can be equated to rotor mechanical block after collision at the highest position. We can choose the lowest position as the reference position for measurement of gravitational potential. So kinetic energy of the block after collision at the lowest position is, just after collision, half m2v2 square. Gravitational potential of the block just after collision at the lowest position can be taken as 0. Total mechanical energy of the block after collision at the highest position is equal to kinetic energy of the block at the highest position plus potential of the block at the highest position. So kinetic energy of the block at the highest position is 0 because the velocity of the block momentarily becomes 0 at the highest position. The gravitational potential of the block at the highest position just after collision, not just after collision, at the highest position can be done m2gh. So can cancel m2 here. You get v2 square is equal to gh. G can take another 9.8 meter per second square, h equal to 0.1 meter. So you get v2 equal to root of 1.96 meter per second, or you get v2 equal to 1.4 meter per second. You can substitute this value of v2 into the first equation from second equation. So from first and second equations, you get v1 plus 200 into v2 is 1.4 meter per second. That is equal to 500 meter per second. So if you want to copy the solution of the problem, you can take a pause and copy the solution of the problem, and you can try to complete the calculation part also. So you get the velocity of the bullet just after collision as 220 meter per second. That's the answer. So for question number 25, second option is answer. See the question number 26. The sphere A impinges directly on identical sphere B at rest. V is the coefficient of restitution. Find the ratio of the velocities of A and B after impact. So here you have to find the answer in terms of coefficient of restitution. Here the mass m2 of second sphere is same as the mass m1 of the first sphere. Let m denote the mass of each sphere. Second sphere is initial at rest, so u2 is 0. So we'll try to find v1 and v2 in terms of u1 and coefficient of restitution. u1 is the velocity of the first sphere A before collision. So for any one-dimensional collision, you can write m1 v1 plus m2 v2 equal to m1 u1 plus m2. Any problem in one-dimensional collisions can be solved by using these two equations. First equation m1 v1 plus m2 v2 equal to m1 u1 plus m2 u2. Another equation which you can apply is E equal to v2 minus v1 by u1 minus v2, or v2 minus v1 you can write E times u1 minus u2. So in this first equation, here you can substitute m1 equal to m, m2 equal to m, and in initial velocity of the second sphere is 0. So m into v1 plus v2, you get mu1. So you get v1 plus v2 equal to u1. So we require one more equation in terms of v1 and v2, one more linear equation. You can write u2 equal to 0 here on the right side. So you can write v2 minus v1 equal to e into u1. You have to solve the two simultaneous linear equations, 1 and 2 for v1 and v2. If you want to copy the solution of the problem, you can take a pause and copy the solutions of the problem. So if you add the two equations 1 and 2, V1 gets cancelled. You get V2 equal to 1 plus E into U1, or V2 equal 1 plus E into U1 by 2. Next, you can substitute this value of V2 in one of the equations to find V1. Or you can subtract second equation from first equation to find V1 directly, in case you are asked to find V1 directly. If you simplify this, you get V1 equal to 1 minus E times U1 by 2. So divide V1 with V2. So you get 1 minus E into U1 by 2 divided by 1 plus E into U1 by 2. So you get V1 by V2 is equal to 1 minus E by 1 plus E. If you want to copy the solution, you can take a pause and copy the solution of the problem. Look at the question number 27. Ball is released from the roof of a building 5 meters high. It bounces back from the floor and rises to a height less than 5 meters. It then bounces again from the floor, rising back in the same proportion. The total vertical distance traveled with the ball before it finally comes to rest is 45 meters. Calculate the coefficient of retribution between the ball and the floor. This problem also comes under one special case which I have discussed in a separate class in one-dimensional inelastic collisions. As I discussed here earlier, if E is the coefficient of retribution between the ball and the floor, and H is the initial height from which the ball is dropped above the floor, and the ball is allowed to collide with the floor repeatedly. The ball, suppose, moves only under influence of gravity between any two successive collisions. Then I have already derived the calculation for total vertical distance. The ball travels before it finally comes to rest. That is equal to 1 plus E square by 1 minus E square into H. So here you can write the total distance covered is given to be 45 meters. And H is given to 5 meters. I don't want to repeat the derivation which I have done in separate class. I have already explained you the calculation for this conclusion. I have explained the derivation in one special case in a separate class. That means the ball is dropped from certain height, vertical height H above the floor, and the ball makes repeated collisions with the floor, such that the ball moves only under influence of gravity between any two successive collisions. Then the total distance covered with the ball before it finally stops from the moment of its release is given by D equal 1 plus E square by 1 minus E square into H. You can now substitute the value of D equal to 45 meters on the left side and H equal to 5 meters on the right side. Come on, if you want to copy the solution of the problem, you can copy the solution of the problem and you can try to do the simplification yourself. You can simplify it your own way, apply component and dividend, or you can do by cross multiplication. So you get E square equal to 8 by 10 or 4 by 5 or E equal to 2 by root 5. That's the answer. So look at the Question number 28. A 5 kg body moving with a speed of 10 meters per second collides head-on with a 2 kg body moving in the same direction with a speed of 5 meters per second. After the impact, the 2 kg body acquires a speed of 12 meters per second. Find the coefficient of restitution. So here mass m1 of the first body is 5 kg. And initial loss to the first body before collision, you can write u1 equal 10 meters per second. The mass m2 of second body is 2 kg. And the initial velocity of second body before collision, I denoted by u2, that is 5 meters per second. It is given that second body is moving in the same direction as that of the first body. So if you give positive sign for u1, you have to give positive sign for u2 also. After the collision, the 2 kg body means second body acquires velocity of 12 meters per second. You have to find coefficient of restitution. To find coefficient of restitution, you have to first find v1. So the first equation which we use for our problems in one-dimensional collisions, one-dimensional inelastic collisions, is m1 v1 plus m2 v2 equal to m1 u1 plus m2 u2. Substitute all these values and find v1. After calculating v1, then coefficient of restitution. Between the two bodies is given by E equal to v2 minus v1 by u1 minus u2. If you want to copy the solution of the problem, you can take a pause and copy the solution of the problem, and you can try to do the simplification part yourself. So I have substituted all the values. I'm trying to simplify this. Can substitute all the values and simplify it. So you get v1 equal to 7.8 meters per second. Substitute the values of v1 and v2 here. v2 is 12, v1 is 7.2 meters per second. u1 is 10 meters per second, and u2 is 5 meters per second. So you get E equal to 0.96. See the question number 29. 3 particles each of mass m moving with equal speeds along the medians of an equilateral triangle on a smooth horizontal plane collide at the centroid of the triangle. After collision, A comes to rest and B retraces its path with speed v. The speed of C after the collision is. So this problem, of course, not related to one-dimensional collisions, but it is based on conservation of momentum principle. So we can consider the three particles as one system. This problem was originally given in one of the very old IIT exam papers, JEE exam. So initially the 3 particles are moving along the 3 medians of an equilateral triangle, and they are moving with equal speed So mass of each particle is same here. Recall this is A, this is B. And this is the third particle C. So the three particles have same mass m and they are moving with equal speeds along the medians of the triangle before the collision. That means the three momentum vectors of the three particles before collision will have same magnitude. And P1 bar is the momentum of A before collision. P2 bar is the momentum of B before collision. P3 bar is the momentum of C before collision. Magnitudes of the momenta of the three particles before collision is same because the three particles are having same mass m and they move with same speed before the collision. If you can draw a separate figure by representing the three momentum vectors, graphically the three vectors can be drawn from same point such that tails of the three vectors are attached to common point. The angle between any two medians, in the case of equilateral triangle, is 120 degrees. So angle between any two of the three vectors shown in the figure is 120 degrees. So the three momentum vectors have same magnitude and they are inclined to each other at an angle of 120 degrees to each other. There is one conclusion which I have discussed in vectors. I told you that this conclusion should be remembered. That is, in general, if three coplanar vectors of same magnitude are inclined to each other at an angle of 120 degrees, then the magnitude of their vector sum or resultant will be 0. Because the three vectors can be graphically represented along the three sides of an equilateral triangle, all taken in the same order. The three vectors can be graphically represented along the three sides of an equilateral triangle, all taken in same order. This is 120 degrees. So this is 60 degrees. There is one conclusion which I discussed as a corollary to the triangle law of addition vectors. If three vectors can be graphically represented along the three sides of a triangle, all taken in the same order, that means that of one vector attached to the other vector, then magnitude of their vector sum is 0. So based on this conclusion, I have already discussed this conclusion. You are supposed to remember that. In case you don't remember, at least try to remember from now onwards. The conclusion is that if three vectors have same magnitude and if they are inclined to each other at an angle of 120 degrees with each other, then magnitude of the vector sum is 0. That means total momentum of system of the three particles before collision is 0. Applying conservation momentum, if you consider the system of three particles as one system, the vector sum of the linear moment of three particles or total linear moment of system will not be changed due to the internal forces between the particles during the collision. So vector sum of the linear moment of the three particles just after collision can be equated to the vector sum of the linear moment of the three particles just before collision. Here P1 bar, P2 bar, P3 bar represent the linear momentum vectors of three particles just before collision. PA bar, PB bar and PC bar represent the linear momentum of the three particles just after collision. As I discussed before, the resultant of the three momentum vectors P1 bar and P2 bar and P3 bar before collision is 0 bar. So vector sum of linear moment of the three particles just after collision must also be 0. It is given that after collision, first particle A comes to rest. So momentum of A after collision becomes 0. So for PA bar can be written as 0 bar. That means just after collision, momentum of C will be equal in magnitude, but opposite in direction to the momentum of B. That means the momentum of C after collision will be opposite in direction, but equal in magnitude momentum of B. Momentum of C can write mass of C into velocity of C. Momentum of B you can write mass of B into velocity of B. Masses are equal. That means at the instant just after collision, the particle C will be moving with same velocity, same magnitude velocity as the particle B, but in opposite direction. So after the collision, it is given that A comes to rest at the centroid. After the collision, the first particle A comes to rest at the centroid, but B retraces its path with speed V. That means B moves in this direction along the median. Retraces means moves along same path in opposite direction. So velocity of C is opposite to B in direction but equal. So that means after collision, C moves opposite to B. The same magnitude momentum and same speed B. So if you want to copy the solution of the problem, you can take a pause and copy the solution of the problem. So for question number 29, third option is the answer. So speed of C after collision is V and direction of motion will be opposite to B. See the question number 30. A pendulum bob of mass 10 power minus 2 kg is raised to a vertical height of 5 into 10 power minus 2 meter and then released. At the bottom of its swing, it picks up a mass of 2.5 in 10 power minus 3 kg. To what height will the combined mass rise? To find the vertical height to which the combined mass rises after collision, or to find the velocity of the combined mass just after collision. To find the velocity of the combined mass just after collision, you have to first calculate the velocity of the pendulum bob just before collision with the second particle at the bottom of its swing. So the pendulum bob, the mass of the pendulum bob are denoted by M1. It is suspended by string. The bob moves in the arc of a circle before collision. Let U1 with the velocity of the bob just before it collides with the second particle at its lowest position or at the bottom of its swing. The initial height from which the bob, the initial vertical height to which the bob falls before collision, denoted by H, which is given to be 5 into 10 power minus 2 meter. So first I will apply conservation of energy for motion of the bob before collision. So for motion before collision, total mechanics of the bob remains constant during the motion before collision because it moves under influence of gravity before collision, which is the conservative force. So total mechanics of the bob at the lowest position of its swing is equal to total mechanics of the bob at the highest position. At the highest position, velocity of the bob is 0. So total mechanics at the lowest position is equal to kinetic energy of the bob at the lowest position, that you can write half m1 u1 square plus gravitational potential of the bob at the lowest position can be taken as 0. Total mechanics of the bob at the highest position is equal to kinetic of the bob at the highest position, which can be taken as 0, plus gravitational potential of the bob at the highest position, that you can write m1 gh. So u1 equal to root of 2 gh. So here h is given to be 5 into 10 power minus 2 meter. So if you simplify this yourself, you get u1 equal to 1 meter per second. Next, we'll apply conservation momentum for motion for the collision between the bob and the second particle. So we can write m1 v1 plus m2 v2 equal to m1 u1 plus m2 u2. Here second particle is initial at rest, so u2 is 0. And after collision, both the particles move with common velocity. Let v with the velocity of the combined mass after collision. So I can write v1 equal to v, v2 equal to v. So momentum after collision, that is m1v plus m2v. Can write m1 u1 because u2 is 0 here. The second particle is initially at rest. So the velocity of the combined mass just after collision at the lowest position will be m1 u1 divided by m1 plus m2. You can substitute the values of m1 and m2 now. m1 equal 10 power minus 2 kg. u1 is 1 meter per second. m1 plus m2 will be 10 power minus 2 plus 2.5 into 10 power minus 3. That you can write. You can try to simplify this yourself. Try to simplify this yourself. Then for motion after collision, it is not an elastic collision, so you cannot equate total kinetic energy after collision with the total kinetic energy before collision, because the collision is completely inelastic. It is given that the two particles move together with a common velocity after collision. So there will be definitely loss in the kinetic energy during the collision. So therefore you cannot equate kinetic energy after collision with the kinetic energy before collision. But you can apply conservation of energy for motion of the combined mass after collision. That means total mechanical of the combined mass just after collision at the lowest position can be equated to total mechanical of the combined mass after collision at the highest position, similar to the case of ballistic pendulum. So total mechanical of the combined mass just after collision at the lowest position is equal to kinetic energy of the combined mass just after collision at the lowest position plus potential energy at the lowest position can be taken as 0. So total mechanical of the combined mass after collision at the highest position is equal to kinetic energy plus potential energy. So kinetic energy of the combined mass becomes 0 at the highest position after collision. So gravitational potential of the combined mass after collision at the highest position is equal to m1 plus m2 into g into h1. Let h1 denote the vertical height to which the combined mass rises above the lowest position after collision. So you can write h1 equal to m1 plus m2 gets cancelled. V square by 2g. Substitute the value of v from this equation in this equation to find h1. If you want to copy the solution of the problem, you can take a pause and copy the solution of the problem. You can try to do the simplification part yourself. So you get v equal to 0.8 meter per second. And g is given as 10 meter per second square. So you get 0.032 meters or 3.2 centimeter. That will be the answer. So with this, I have completed discussion of all the questions from 1 to 30 in the assignment in collisions. So of course, with this we are not completed the collisions completely. I am going to discuss about two-dimensional collisions or oblique collisions. In the past syllabus, board exam syllabus for the intermediate syllabus, you had only one-dimensional collisions in your syllabus. But in the latest textbooks, you have been given some discussion about two-dimensional collisions also. Therefore, in my next class, I will be discussing the theory part for two-dimensional collisions or oblique collisions, and I will be discussing some special cases in the oblique collisions or two-dimensional collisions. So then I will be showing you the continuation for the assignment. That means I will be giving you the continuations for the assignment in collisions starting from 31 onwards. So with that, it will be the last part of the assignment will be given to you later in the next classes, in the later classes. In case you feel these problems, some of you feel difficult to solve, as I told you, after going through all the solutions, you can take a gap of 1 day. Again, you start working out the assignment freshly from beginning without looking at solutions and answers. Again, start going through all the questions 1 to 30, one after another, and try to work out them now. Even if you are able to solve these questions after going through solutions after 1 day, then you again try to go through the assignment 1 day or little later. You check up whether you are able to solve them without looking at the answers and solutions at later stage. So finally, you should be able to solve these problems on your own, now or later.